in fact, you mentioned Vikas Singh, and I want to put out what he's saying now, because he's essentially suggesting he's not happy with what the CBI is doing. And he's saying that there should be a separate team of forensic experts that get set up, because they're not happy with, what this team has found. Khan, I find this absurd, because if this is the criteria, nobody will be, the lawyer of Sushant Singh Rajput's family will not be satisfied with anybody else except someone who says, yes, you are right, this is a case of murder, when the 7 doctors have unanimously come to the conclusion it isn't. I'll read to you what Vikas Singh says. Highly perturbed with the AIIMS report, going to request the CBI director to constitute a fresh forensic team. How could AIIMS give a conclusive report in the absence of the body, that too on so much shoddy post-mortem done by Cooper Hospital? Now, this is absurd. There was a demand that there be an AIIMS. This is like saying that first you want an umpire to judge the match. When the umpire votes when the umpire raises his finger and says you need to go back to the pavilion, you say, no, I won't go change the umpire. This makes no sense, Khan.
I think I've lost the sound. Can you hear me?
No, I'm saying that I hear you well. I hear you well, Mr. Khan. I'm saying that the lawyer of Sushant Singh Rajput's family says he's not happy with the findings of the AIIMS team. He wants a new forensic team to be set up.
He wants murder to be registered by hook or crook. It's something ridiculous. I mean, initially, the Mumbai police was investigating in India. They said, all right, Mumbai police is biased. There's some politicians involved. So we want the Bihar police register the case. Then the Bihar police came with a lot of drama and a lot of talk about being detained and all that, and no cooperation. Then the Supreme Court invoked special powers under Article 142, rarest of rare cases, and handed over to the CBI. The CBI sent its crack team down here, probably the best investigators you can find. Even now, if you're not satisfied with the CBI and the AIIMS, then I don't know, what did you want? That you want a joint team of FBI and the Scotland Yard and perhaps some of the experts from all over the world.
Raghav Awashti, what do you make of this absurd demand? A. Khan says, who do you want? You want Scotland Yard to come in, you want the FBI to come in, next you'll say you want the CIA, then you'll want the police to come from Mars, Venus, Jupiter. Unless you find somebody who stands up and says, yes, I agree with you, Vikas Singh and his ilk won't be satisfied with whatever the independent experts find.
Rahul, Vikas Singh ji is a very respected senior advocate, and I think he's one of the best in the country right now. Even if he had not taken this case, he would still be one of the best in the country. So let's not cast aspersions upon his competence or knowledge of the law. The larger question is this: whether in the absence of any post-mortem being conducted by the doctors from AIIMS, can we really take whatever they are saying at face value? Or there are other circumstances that need to be investigated. For example, Siddharth Pitani's conduct needs to be investigated. And all of these things will be investigated by the CBI, I am sure. And as a matter of fact, that the Mumbai police were the first ones to have raised red flags in relation to foul play. They were the ones who had summoned Karan Johar and all. So I don't understand as to why there is such a desperation among certain sections of the media and the commentariat to bury this case once and for all. I really cannot understand it. Let the CBI complete its investigation. Let the CBI interrogate everybody. Why should we jump the gun now?
One second. There is no desperation anywhere. We are, as we have been from day one for 112 days now, reporting on the facts as they emerge. The fact that you've now got Dr. Sudhir Gupta, whose report was much anticipated, coming out on record and confirming that his team has unanimously come to the conclusion that this isn't murder but it's suicide, surely is reportable. If you've been reporting on what the cook, the uncle, the aunt, some eyewitness, some fellow at the hospital is saying, what AIIMS' top forensic expert has to say is not a sign of desperation, it's just a sign of journalists doing their job. Raghav Awashti.
Exactly, you should report that. My only point is this: the experts at AIIMS are only as good as the material that is placed before them. If the material has already been tampered with, or is not authentic, or is spurious, as some people are alleging, then of course their expert opinion cannot be taken at face value, and it has nothing to do with them. It has everything to do with the material that is placed before them. That is why I'm saying we need more material, we need to interrogate more witnesses, we have to investigate the drug angle, we have to, and as a matter of fact, Riya Chakravarti has been taken into custody by the NCB so that she can be interrogated. You know, there are so many angles that need to be interrogated here. Just
no, but those are two different. No, one
and
second, Raghav Awashti. One second. Because it seems that you're deliberately trying to mislead viewers. The NCB probe is separate. The NCB probe is based on a tip-off from the ED. It has nothing to do with the CBI case. The CBI case is about the circumstances of Sushant Singh Rajput's unfortunate death, whether this is a case of suicide, abetment to suicide, potentially murder. That is what the CBI is looking at. Now you're shifting the goalpost to talk about the NCB probe, which is not what the SSR case is about. Of course, the fact that Bollywood stars, some of them are known to consume drugs, and that is a violation of law, needs to be probed and is being probed, but that's not linked to the death or murder of Sushant Singh Rajput, which now it turns out is a case of suicide. Kanika Sadanand, will there be closure, or do you believe that, you know, for those who've made up their mind and have convinced themselves, whipped themselves up into hysteria and have boxed themselves into such a corner, raised the stakes so much that now they can't find a way of wriggling out of the corner that they've boxed themselves into, and will keep insisting that this is murder, even if the AIIMS team goes hoarse saying that no, this is not murder, it's a case of suicide?
Absolutely. I think that there's some people who've really boxed themselves in and they don't know how to get out of it, or they're going to start spinning new stories. But I want to just answer to what Raghav said. Look, whatever investigation, whatever findings the CBI, nobody is saying we are closing the case here. It's not our job to close the case. That job is going to be done in the court, and the court is going to decide finally. And as far as you saying that they called people like Karan Johar and all these people, they did not call Karan Johar because it was abetment to suicide. They were trying to talk about nepotism at that time. And all the charges that the CBI, the case that CBI is investigating, is the FIR that was filed in Bihar. And 90% of those charges are now looking absolutely infructuous, because there was no 15 crore, there was so many, and abetment is very difficult to prove, especially in this case.